Alrighty, line graph day today. I am killing two birds with one stone by making an example that will be on a digital place somewhere as well. So that's why I am using texters instead of pencil like last time. The first few steps are really similar to the column graph. They're just how to make the base of a graph. So I'm going to rule out my x-axis and y-axis. So there's my x, here's my y. There's my x and y. Next thing I need to do is count my data options and figure out how many spaces I need. This is a little bit different to the column, because on the column graph we were putting things in between the spaces, whereas this time we're actually going to mark them on those lines. So the example today is a basketball team's points that they score each week. 8 weeks, so we need 8 spaces to mark our data. I'm going to mark them evenly again. Even is key. Now, instead of working in between those, we're actually working on those marks today. So that's really important. I'm going to label the weeks here. Line graphs are for things that are one thing that's recorded over a period of time or days, or last year the 3-4s practiced line graphs with our token balances, so whether they went up or down over an amount of time. So I just thought I'd explain that. This will be week 1, week 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, next thing we need to label is our y-axis, which is the amount of points. I've got some big numbers. This team's a pretty high scorer, so I'm going to count by 5s this time. Still going to measure out evenly. So 5 points, 10, 15, 40 points. All right. Now we actually need to label those axes. So we've marked out what's going to go there, but we actually need to label them. So this is the points scored. This is over the weeks. Again, haven't actually left myself much space. I'm going to have to squeeze it in down here. If I had more space, I probably would write weeks played or something like that. Games played, maybe. All right, now we're actually up to graphing our data. This is where it's really different to the column. So first week they had a poor week and they only managed to score 15 points. So ruler again is really important, because here's that mark. The dot that you make to start your line graph needs to be right above this. So it needs to be really in line with it. So they only scored 5 points. So I start by putting a dot there. Week 2, they were a bit better. They scored 12 points. So that's not on here, but I know it's closer to 10 than closer to 15. So I'm going to put it about at that height. Again, right above week 2. Week 3, really good week. 15 points. Best player was gone. Next week they went back down to 5. 20. Player was back. So you can see I've got my dots so far, but I don't have any lines yet. So next comes the lines. So that's step number 4 technically. This is just the order of what I've done things in. Now I'm going to join up the dots, with the line. This is where the line bit comes in. So I'm going to start my line from down here, and each of these dots needs to touch with that line. So I'm using my ruler, nice and straight. Again, no freehand. I'm turning my paper as I go because that's a bit easier than turning my body. Oh, nearly missed that one down there. This is the line bit of our line graph. Now, if you take the double line graph option, I'm just going to leave that there. If you take the double line graph option, let's say orange represents Bunyip's team and this dark blue represents a Druin team, you just do the same thing again, but with a different colour. So for Druin's team, they're pretty good. They scored 25 and they just keep getting better. That's about 27, 35. Both good players got sick in the same week. They're down to 15 points. So this is how the double line graph works. They go over the top of each other to show two different kinds of things recorded in the same, week, basically. So in my instructions, take whichever road you like. Take the single line graph if you want. Take the double if you're up for the challenge. You'll see that in the table of data. You'll see that there'll be two teams. Choose whichever team you want. I'm going to give you the basketball topic. So choose whichever team you want to make your line graph. Most important thing, haven't actually labelled my whole graph. Oops. Weekly points. Weekly, it should have said basketball points. Weekly basketball points. And there's our single or double line graph. Good luck, everybody.